Here at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy's 82nd commencement exercise, June 16th, 2018, set to begin within 3 minutes. The underclass has arrived, and we're preparing for the arrival of the class of 2018. Our commencement speaker is James Mattis, the Secretary of Defense, 26th Secretary of Defense. He's a native of Richland, Washington. Secretary Mattis enlisted as a U.S. Marine Corps Reserve at the age of 18. After graduating from the Central Washington University in 1971, he was commissioned as second lieutenant in the U.S. Marine Corps. During his time of more than 4 decades in uniform, Secretary Mattis commanded Marines at all levels, from an infantry rifle platoon to a Marine Expeditionary Force. He led an infantry battalion in Iraq in 1991, an expeditionary brigade in Afghanistan after the 9/11 terror attack in 2001, a Marine division in the initial attack and subsequent stability operations in Iraq in 2003. The distinguished alumnus speaker will be Nancy Wagner. Captain Wagner was admitted to the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy in 1974. She graduated from the class of 78 as one of the first 8 female graduates. Went on to sail for Exxon and advanced her license, earning her unlimited master's in 1985. She was the first female in Kings Point history to do so. 2 years later, Captain Wagner joined the San Francisco Bar Pilot Apprenticeship Program and became the country's first female ship pilot in 1990. The legacy class this year is 1968. Which will lead the procession of dignitaries, distinguished visitors, graduates, faculty, and staff onto Tomb Field today. Again, we're waiting for the commencement exercise to begin at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's now 9:59. General Mattis has arrived. You'll see him to the left of your screen. One thing to note today is that Kings Point will be marching with the battle standard. It's the only academy. The United States Merchant Marine Academy is privileged among the nation's 5 federal academies to begin, the only institution authorized to carry a battle standard as part of the color guard. The Academy's battle standard proudly commemorates and perpetuates the memory of the cadet midshipmen who gave the last full measure of devotion in World War II. We're going to go now to the commencement exercise, which is set to begin as the bell has rung and the dignitaries are about to take the stage, and the class of 2018 is preparing to march in. Here comes the legacy class, 1968.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 82nd commencement exercises of the United States Merchant Marine Academy. This morning, the graduating class of 2018 is being led in by members of their 50th anniversary legacy class, the class of 1968. Members of each legacy class serve an invaluable role as mentors and advocates for the midshipmen. Following behind the class of 2018, the class of 2018 are the members of our outstanding faculty and staff. Please give them a round of applause.
The 82nd commencement exercises of the United States Merchant Marine Academy, by virtue of these words, are now convened. Verba sunt acta.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for honors to the Secretary of Defense and remain standing for our national anthem, followed by the invocation from our command chaplain, Commander-Select Jerry Durham, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy.
Will you join me in prayer this morning? Eternal Father, it has been 4 years since I stepped on this campus with these men and women and began an incredible journey, which would bring them to this day. They could not fully anticipate what would happen or where this journey would take them, and I've been blessed to be on the journey with them. Their strength and character were tested the moment they arrived. Many of them probably had doubts and were anxious to see what the future held. They endured rigorous academic programs. They journeyed to far-off lands and saw things they had never seen before. They experienced the wonders of the world and made lifelong friendships along the way. They had fears and faced each of them head-on, and today they stand before us having completed one leg of the journey, and now are ready to embark on the next stage of the race you have set for their lives. They have endured the challenges set before them just a few years ago. More than surviving them, they thrived in the midst of them. Through commitment, determination, raw grit, and I'm sure a great deal of prayer from their parents, they stand before you having accomplished all these tasks set before them here at the United States Merchant Marine Academy. This morning we celebrate the culmination of years of dedication and hard work. As we do so, I would ask you, O God, to surround this event with your presence. May all we say and do here this morning bring a sense of pride to the parents, family, and friends, and bring honor to the class of 2018. But most of all, bring glory to your great name. I pray these things in your most holy name. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you to Camille Sokoloff for that tremendous rendition of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, the 12th Superintendent of the United States Merchant Marine Academy, Rear Admiral James A. Hellis.
Good morning. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful day. Secretary Mattis, Congressman Swazi, Administrator Busby, General Koch, General Chern, General Scheich, Admiral Dunlap, Captain Wagner, Captain Dijon, Captain Stroud, Captain Williams, Colonel Johnson, Captain Select Hartz, distinguished guests, alumni, Academy faculty and staff, and most importantly, Class of 2018 and your family and friends, welcome to the United States Merchant Marine Academy's 2018 commencement exercise. Band, as always, you sound terrific this morning. Thanks for the special presence you bring to so many events here. And to Camille, thank you again for that beautiful rendition of the national anthem to get us started this morning. Thank you for coming out to do that for us. Today we celebrate with the class of 2018 as they complete their voyage as midshipmen and open a new chapter in service of the nation's national security, marine transportation, and economic needs. Faculty, coaches, staff, thank you for your dedication in shaping these new offices. And I'd ask the faculty, coaches, and staff to please stand and be recognized. All right, 2018, you've made it. Take a moment now to look around. Just physically take a moment and look around now. See your friends, your families, your teachers, your coaches, your role models and mentors. Think back on the journey. I see some people smiling and shaking their heads and the memories. But think back on the journey from Indoc through plebe year, all of the trails of academics, out to sea, licensing, and everything else in between. Take in this moment. You've earned it. The American people look to you from this day forward to not just deliver the goods, but to provide principled leadership, exemplified by a commitment to respect, honor, and service. As officers in the Merchant Marine and the Armed Forces, you will be responsible for the safety, the well-being, the very lives of those who sail and serve with you. You must have the conviction and the courage to always choose the harder right over the easier wrong, to exemplify the values of respect, honor, and service. Your education, your training, and your life experience have prepared you for those challenges. Whether you step up and seize the moment is in your hands and in your hands alone. Remember, acta non verba. Bring to life those words and the words and the oaths you will take this morning in the presence of your friends, your family, and our nation's leaders. Leading is both a challenge and a privilege. Each and every one of you has the opportunity as leaders to make a difference in our world and in the lives of those around you. Rise to the challenge. Embrace the privilege. Go out and lead and change the world. Let acta non verba be your touchstone. Be the leaders of character that our nation needs and those who sail and serve with you deserve. Class of 2018, best of luck. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves, your families, those entrusted to your leadership, and each other. I am so very proud of each and every one of you. Not just for what you've accomplished to get to this point today, which is quite a lot, but what I know lies ahead. I will close with words from that wisest of philosophers, Dr. Seuss. The closing lines of "Oh, the Places You'll Go," which is a great primer on navigating life's journey. Will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. You'll move mountains. You're off to great places. Today is your day. Your mountain is waiting. So let's get on your way. Congratulations. May you always know fair winds and following seas. It is my honor to introduce the Maritime Administrator and the Commandant of the United States Maritime Service, the Honorable Mark Busby, Kings Point Class of 1979.
Thank you, Admiral Hillis. My boss, the Secretary of Transportation, Elaine L. Chow, asked me to pass on her special greetings to everyone here this morning and her special personal congratulations to all of you in the great class of 2018. It is so great to be with you here this morning, especially this morning. I'll be honest, I love coming back here. I absolutely love coming back here. And some of you may wonder, how in the heck can that be? Especially those of you who have been here 4 years straight or longer. And for those of you that have been here for 6 years, God bless you guys. Let me just tell you, at this point in my career, coming back here is like plugging in your cell phone to a charger. It just immediately juices you up. And when the travails of Washington are weighing heavy on my shoulder, when I step on board the Academy here, it just all goes away. It's awesome. It's where it began for me, where it's about to begin for you. So my shipmates, I wanted to take just a moment to tell you how proud I am of you and what you've accomplished in spite of some abnormally stiff headwinds these past 4 years. KP is a challenging place to get through, even on the best of days. But you weathered some pretty choppy waters over the past few years and emerged better and stronger for it, both individually and as a class. You shouldered the burden. Yeah, give yourselves a hand. You shouldered the burden of a sea-year stand-down which impaired your normal training path, but you still took the initiative to learn, to grow, and to make it happen. And I'll be frank, some of you may experience a slightly steeper than normal initial learning curve when you get out in the industry, but I have confidence that you'll overcome that real fast. This class also took important first steps in saying enough is enough, and has embarked on creating a new campus culture, BKP, where every midshipman is respected, valued, and able to fully develop their potential to serve as leaders of exemplary character. Well done. What you may not know is that you have taken these steps not only for your fellow midshipmen here, but for generations of mariners yet to come. That's leadership, and we'll soon see if the classes of 19, 20, and 21 were paying attention. Trust me, you will treasure your time here at Kings Point and the friendships you have made for the rest of your lives, as you enter a proud maritime tradition that has served this nation and its citizens since its founding. Today, it's an industry in dynamic flux, being tested as never before while finding its way into the 21st century and confronted by a fiercely competitive international environment. I will tell you this, in spite of any of these challenges, the industry's value to the United States has never been greater. There are positive signs that we are moving in the right direction, but you know what? The most positive sign and the most positive news for our industry is that you're about to join it. You have prepared for it. You have been trained, equipped, and educated at our nation's center of maritime excellence. You will be the ones to define the future of this industry, key members of the largest and most strategic part of this nation's transportation logistics chain. Now is your chance, and I know you will make the most of it. Acta non verba. It's now my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, James M. Mattis, the 26th United States Secretary of Defense. A native of Richland, Washington, Secretary Mattis enlisted in the Marine Corps Reserve at the age of 18. After graduating from Central Washington University in 1971, he was commissioned as second lieutenant in the United States Marines. During his more than 4 decades in uniform, Secretary Mattis commanded Marines and joint forces at all levels, from an infantry rifle platoon all the way to a theater commander. But perhaps his greatest bit of notoriety, and I think he will agree to this, is that he is the son of a U.S. Merchant Marine Chief Engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, our Secretary of Defense.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks very much. Well, if you clap like that when I'm done, I'll feel real good about today. But Admiral Mark, thanks for that's the best introduction I've ever had, right there. But to the distinguished guests who are here today and take part in today, they will understand, because simply some of us have been around a little longer, why I stand before you with mixed emotions. I'm out of Washington, D.C., and I'm so happy I could cry. But I would just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the tradition of what happens here at Kings Point, this is a jewel. This is a national treasure for us. And for the young people who've been through it, who had their nose to the grindstone, you cannot know how important this institution is or your industry is until you look back at it. It's something you know best in a rearview mirror. And while you're very happy to be coming out today, I assure you what you picked up here for life's journey is going to serve you forever. I also want to say, besides the congratulations to all of you wearing the uniforms down here on the playing field, to the families that introduced you to a way of life that would put others first, that would make you think that this country is something like a bank where you have to put something in if you're going to take something out. And for all of your families, you just have our deepest respect in this country. The only way this country, this experiment in democracy, will continue to exist is if we raise young men and women like this who are willing to commit themselves to serve others, to serve their country. I think, too, that if you think back, as was mentioned by your Admiral, to your first days when you came through the hatchway here, you didn't know much about the Naval Service, about the Maritime Service, and they started you through INDOC here, and you knew nothing of terrestrial or celestial navigation. When you look back to those days when they had to teach you that the best way to deal with a situation where you're between an onshore gale and a rocky coast is never get there in the first place. A little nautical lore there probably. But I think that coming here, you could only know you were going to be tested. And now you're at the top of your game. You're intellectually ready as you need to be. Whether you have confidence in that or not, you will learn that you are intellectually ready because you will continue to learn. You are now physically prepared. You look sharp. My fine young cadets, you look wonderful, actually, to me. I can't believe I was ever that young, though. And spiritually, you are ready for the tests that are coming. And you are going to be the skilled and confident mariners and other service leaders that your country needs. And we need every one of you right now. Every one of you counts. I would tell you, too, yeah, they do. Every one of you count. Because it is the intellect that you will bring, it is the youthful vigor you'll bring, it's the rigor of the way you will do your jobs Coming out of here, you already have an institutional standard that will stand you in good stead anywhere. And as the chaplain spoke about the journey of life earlier in those wonderful remarks he made, I would just tell you I'm going to speak today mostly from a maritime or a nautical or a naval tradition, because that is the tradition of this school. But there's rocks and shoals ahead for you, whether you're going into the U.S. Navy or the Merchant Marine, the Army, the Air Force, the Marines. There's rocks and shoals in life, and especially for leaders, especially for those of you who decided you're going to lead. And by that choice, you are now going to be in a position where others are counting on you. And in those rocks and shoals, as you go through them and navigate through them, you're also there not just to avoid making bad choices yourself, not just to avoid learning from the mistakes. You're also there to ensure your subordinates, those who are counting on you, those who have also signed a blank check payable to the American people with their lives, are counting on you to lead them wisely and well. It doesn't in any way subordinate you in your individuality to serve America. It actually enlarges you, as a senator named John McCain said about his service in the maritime tradition. We need you today, as Administrator Busby said, we need you today probably more than at any time as you join an industry under great competition. But I would also tell you that we need the highly disciplined deck officers and engineers in that service that will make certain we're at the top of our game. We also need those of you going into the other armed forces. And I would say for all of you, what we really need is, as the poet puts it, we need those who are willing to go far from the comfort and well-lit avenues of life. And you're going to do that as leaders. You're going to go into uncomfortable situations, physically uncomfortable, even dangerous. You're going to go into very uncomfortable situations ethically. And you've got to listen to the words that you were given here and the guidance you were given here, because when destiny taps you on the shoulder, you must be ready. And I think whether you're going to be ashore or at sea, you're going to bind the muscles of American commerce. And that's a simple reality, because as small as our Merchant Marine may be today, it is absolutely essential. It's in every war plan that I review, I guarantee you, because you're going to be the fourth arm of defense. You're going to sustain our allies and fuel our ships and ferry our warriors. It's as simple as that. And we're going to need you as we see the storm clouds gather elsewhere, as our diplomats are in a position where we have to buy time for them to solve problems. And you can't buy time as an armed force. You cannot do it unless you're ready to fight. And that counts on every one of you lads and lasses here. I think, too, that history has much to teach us, and we consider that your legacy began when a handful of colonials in Maine decided to pick a fight with a Royal Navy schooner. That took some guts, didn't it? And I would tell you they won despite only having some canoes and some muskets. They won because they believed in each other and they weren't going to let someone else talk them out of it. We recall our World War II lifeline that you held open to our allies and the death blow that your service dealt to our enemies, despite the heavy price that your service paid, a price that's enshrined in the Mariner's Monument, and the 142 midshipmen who by their fearless devotion ensured that yours is the only service academy authorized to carry that battle color with its color guard. That was won for you by some fine young men. When we consider how on 9/11 and in the finest tradition of Kings Point, of your school, the cadets rushed unbidden toward the fire and smoke, mobilizing to assist in the recovery and the safety, the rescue of citizens from 91 countries in New York City that day, and then delivering essential personnel supplies. We can see the tradition carries on in those of you who come of this generation, knowing that you will deliver your absolute fighting best, because our country will have competent leaders of character who will be most ready when the nation may be least ready. The Merchant Marine is near and dear to my heart for the reasons that the administrator mentioned there. My father was a mariner from 1935 to 1949, so it was in my blood to go wander the world. And I would just tell you those were turbulent times in the air, on land and sea, and under the sea, as your team found out the hard way. During the Great Depression, he enrolled in the Pennsylvania Nautical School and he did his sea year aboard the USS Annapolis, which was a Navy steam sail gunboat from the Spanish-American War. So he was dealing with something decades old. Sound familiar there, young folks? Decades old, almost as old as this speaker is compared to you. And aboard there, he learned everything from furling sails to taking bilge soundings and more. But soundings they were, it was sound training for what lay ahead. And those seamanship fundamentals served him well when the great auditor that in the armed services we call war was going to test all of the mariners that we had and then some. He put to sea on convoys from the Murmansk run to the United Kingdom, where the wolf packs hunted under the stormy North Atlantic Sea. He took part in the great effort when your predecessors kept a starving Britain and a defeat-ravaged Russia alive long enough to ensure Hitler's defeat. His voyage took him to the seven seas, and you will go there as well. He went to Iran, to Sri Lanka, and Australia. And on one voyage, he did meet a young woman who was being dropped off in South Africa to work at the U.S. consulate. Turned out to be my mother. I thank every one of you for being alive today, since you had something to do with that. So I do come today to say thanks to your forefathers as well, and speak briefly about what our country actually specifically needs of you graduates. To best describe it, I would borrow words from a former Assistant Secretary of the Navy, who said, in the event of a war, American flagged ships are obviously needed not only for naval auxiliaries, but also for the maintenance of reasonable and necessary commercial intercourse. We should remember the lessons learned in the last war. That Secretary of the Navy, ladies and gentlemen, who is better known as President Franklin Roosevelt a few years later, and he spoke those words in 1935, and the last war he refers to, of course, was World War I. Those lessons that he was speaking to are timeless, and I would tell you the essential nature of an efficient and a resilient merchant marine that is fearless, and that is what we still need today. Your service has ever embraced these lessons, so much so that during World War II, the Kings Point newspaper, Polaris, published some rather grim advice for those of you who are sitting where you're sitting today. It said, sleep with your cabin door open because a torpedo strike can jam your door shut. Never sleep on the hatch covers. You risk getting blown overboard. Wear clothing at all times in dangerous waters. Have a life belt and a flashlight handy. Know where your boots are. Now, my fine young folks, more than 30% of this class will go into active duty in the armed forces, but all graduates must be ready to do as your forebears did, to always know where your boots are, to always be ready when trouble looms. Because both war and the sea are unforgiving environments, and so the lessons learned here will apply wherever you go in the future. And now for just a moment, let's shrink the years between those of you sitting here, graduating, and myself with my color of hair. Just shrink the difference between us here. A couple of words of advice all of us old folks feel like we have to pass on to young people. You may not learn better than by your own experience, but we feel obligated to try and share some of this with you. First of all, always run the ethical midfield, just like you learned here. You run the ethical midfield. If you make a mistake, you're not going to be out of bounds. If you run right on the boundary lines and just trying to stay just inside, even a common mistake can have you out of bounds, and there's nothing your seniors can do at that point to care more about your career and your life and your reputation for your family and for your school and for your service than you care. You've got to be the men and women of integrity, of honor, intelligence, dedication, and competence. See, I was reading your material here, okay, young folks? You were made to be for that, and you don't want to be anything less, because at the end of the day, you've got to live up to that standard. You do not want to live down from it. I want you to take good responsibility, full responsibility for your reaction to adversity. In a country that sometimes is not known for this anymore, remember who brought you up. Remember who you follow in the footsteps of. Do not celebrate victimhood. Life as a leader is hard, so enjoy it, embrace it, and practice your skill and put it to use when the hard times come, coaching the others to take disappointment in stride. And do not fall into cynicism, which is just another word in the armed services for cowardice. In World War II, few mariners lived this better than the Matthews men of the Virginia Tidewater who were born to the sea. They viewed Hitler's U-boats as a personal affront to their generational profession living on the coast. They didn't whine, they didn't suck their thumbs, they rolled up their sleeves and got to work. They listened at night for the rumbling of diesel engines in the dark. They scoured the horizon at dawn for submarine silhouettes, and those were just the kids on shore. Their fathers plowed through mountainous seas and gales that could last for weeks on fat ships with low water lines and lifeboats so unseaworthy they paid for the repairs out of their own pockets. And by personally funding them, they were personally funding their own readiness. And they would see if they could determine if they were lost at sea, whether they survived or did not. And despite it all, this is what they had to say about prowling U-boats. The torpedoes just got in the way. Now that's called keeping your grace, keeping your courage under pressure, and not taking hold of some victimhood. They just saw torpedoes as a bothersome nuisance. Lastly, I want you to hold something sacred and fix your gaze on it. Fix your gaze on it like you do on the North Star when you're navigating, and chart a course through what are going to be ethically perilous waters. We need leaders who show a strong sense of ethics today. You need to be a source of strength for your subordinates, and you need to be a lifelong learner so you're as strong when destiny does tap you on the shoulder to lead your crew or team through the rocks and shoals of life as you are here today at this point in your life. Leonard LaRue had that strength. He also attended Pennsylvania Nautical School in the 1930s, and like my father, he did his sea year aboard the USS Annapolis. But he is remembered not for his physical courage in World War II, which he had an abundance of, but for his moral courage in Korea as captain of the SS Meredith Victory, where he proved to not only be a mariner in the finest tradition of your service, but also a great American listening to his better angels. In the frigid December of 1950, the United Nations Command was evacuating Hungnam in what is today North Korea. Enemy soldiers bore down upon a city in flames. The harbor was mined, and thousands of refugees swarmed the beaches, desperate to escape the communists as they bore down. Captain LaRue ordered his SS Meredith Victory into shore amidst a storm of war, and he and his crew rescued 14,000 refugees and bore them away safely on a ship. Before they could put in at safe anchorage, 5 babies were born. Of his crew and over 14,000 refugees, not a single life was lost. Now there was a leader not concerned with putting it all on the line. He was competent, he was aware of danger, and stoically he dealt with it. Remember him and don't allow his example to be lost on the compost heap of events. Keep your integrity, take responsibility, and hold close something sacred to include the tradition of this service. It will only last as long as you embrace it. And let me close with just a few words from President Eisenhower on you mariners, for he sums it up well. We count upon their efficiency and their utter devotion to duty. They have never failed us yet. And in all the struggle yet to come, we know that they will never be deterred by any danger, hardship, or privation. So to all our graduates today, thank you for the work you are about to undertake. Thank you for your efficiency and utter devotion to duty. I know you'll keep them sailing. God preserve you when you go in harm's way, and Godspeed to you all. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
General Mattis, on behalf of the class of 2018, we want to thank you for coming to speak to us today. Here presenting as our gift is a replica of the battle standard representing the 142 who died during World War II. We really appreciate you coming.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would now like to pay special recognition to John W. Mattis, a United States merchant mariner who rose to the rank of chief engineer, served during World War II, and was the father of our 26th Secretary of Defense, the Honorable James N. Mattis. In recognition of Mr. Mattis's service to our nation, Admiral Busby will present Secretary Mattis with his father's Merchant Marine Service decorations. Please be seated. This year marks the 10th year that the United States Merchant Marine Academy has conferred master's degrees in marine engineering. This year, 4 individuals have earned their master's degrees. The Academy Master's Program has been made possible through generous support provided by a number of industry leaders who shared our vision of strengthening graduate education in marine engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, the Interim Academic Dean, Captain Preston DeJean.
Will candidates for the degree of Master of Marine Engineering please stand? Rear Admiral Hellis, on behalf of the faculty, I hereby certify that these master candidates have completed the prescribed curriculum and are therefore qualified to be awarded the degree of Master of Marine Engineering.
As Superintendent of the United States Merchant Marine Academy, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Congress of the United States, I confer upon each of you the degree of Master of Marine Engineering with all the rights, privileges, and honors thereunto pertaining.
Michael L. Donner. Three candidates are unable to be with us today. Also receiving master degrees are Lance W. Klein, Frederick M. Wakeham, Madeline Leland. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating these outstanding scholars.
Ladies and gentlemen, about 2 weeks ago, I summoned this midshipman in my office to inform and that of being a class valedictorian. It was my first time seeing him in my life. Because I am familiar with every name tag and every face in the regiment. So I asked him, what was he doing all this time? He said, studying. But we sat and talked for a minute, and I was really impressed by his self-discipline and motivation and drive to succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure to introduce a truly exceptional member of the class of 2018, this year's valedictorian, Midshipman Matthew Thomas Perry.
Good morning. Secretary Mattis, Congressman Swozey, Maritime Administrator Busby, Admiral Hellis, Admiral Dunlap, Captain Stroud, Captain DeJean, Major General Koch, Captain Wagner, alumni, faculty, staff, parents, midshipmen, and finally the class of 2018. It is an honor to be here with you to celebrate the end of the journey for the class of 2018. I would like to thank my parents and family for supporting me through these strenuous 4 years. Without you, I could not have made it. Furthermore, I would like to thank my classmates and my friends for making Kings Point not only bearable, but fun and exciting. I would especially like to thank the Park 18 because there is nothing more exciting than getting a Class 1 offense just before graduation. To the class of 2018, congratulations. It has been a lengthy and grueling 4 years filled with challenges. I can still remember being told on day 0 to look to my left and to my right. We were told that one of us 3 would not make it to graduation. Since then, our class has lost around 71 midshipmen, but all of us standing here were the ones able to endure and succeed. So once again, congratulations. Together, our class has endured through multiple commandants and leadership changes. We have endured through the SEER stand down, with nearly all of us managing to complete all of our sea days. Through all of this, we still managed to accomplish great things that truly exemplify the Academy motto, Acta non verba. Adam Fisher created magic nanoparticles to purify water. Nick Treon, despite having the smallest calves in the class, set the lacrosse record for most points in Academy history. Football appeared in its first bowl game since 2002 and won. And J.C. Phillips napped more hours and slept through more classes than any midshipman in history, and he still passed. Throughout these 4 years, the Academy has taught me lessons on leadership and success. These lessons came from leaders at the Academy, both good and bad, as well as my experiences at sea. I would like to share these lessons with you in hopes that they might help you in the future. 1. Get angry and get over it. This lesson is largely inspired by Dominic Cooper. Everyone gets angry. It is a completely natural emotion that catches up with all of us from time and time again. As a midshipman at Kings Point, there are many things to get angry at, way too many to count. Maybe you have to wake up at 5:30 for a parade practice, for a parade that doesn't even happen. Maybe you lost another 10 socks in the laundry service. Or maybe the internet goes out during finals week again. The important thing is to get angry, yell about it, and then quickly get over it and never lose control of yourself. If you allow your anger to control your actions or allow it to build up, then it can cause lapses in judgment. Hankel. These lapses in judgment could cause you to lose respect of followers or get fired. So remember, respect is lost quicker than it is gained. 2. Question everything. In Colin Powell's book, It Worked for Me, he states, I encouraged all my subordinate commanders and staff to feel free to argue with me. My guidance was simple. Disagree with me, do it with feeling, try to convince me you are right and I am about to go down the wrong path. I too believe we all owe it to our superiors to question their decisions if necessary. Questioning decisions holds leaders accountable for their actions, and it ensures that they are taking the best possible path to success. If they are unable to take these criticisms, then are they truly a leader? Therefore, if someone is wrong and you passionately believe that they are wrong, do not hesitate to question their decision. However, do understand that if they follow through with the decision, refer back to lesson number 1. Get mad and get over it. 3. Have clear goals. During my capstone project, I was lucky enough to have Professor Gu as my advisor. Throughout the project, there were many times when our group became stuck during designing the steam system aboard the assigned vessel. When this happened, I would go into Professor Gu's office and ask what the next step in our calculations was. He would write complicated heat transfer and fluid mechanic equations on the board, and when the group was still unable to understand, someone would always say, "This is not easy." Professor Gu would always reply, "No, not easy, straightforward." Or crystal math, as he would say. This principle can easily be adopted to the goals that you set when you are a leader. Set straightforward or crystal goals, but understand that they will not be easy. From day 0, the class of 2018 had a straightforward goal, passing license and graduating. And therefore, we were able to work slowly towards this goal until it was completed. So do this with all goals in your life, and you will be successful. 4, do not let your position affect your ego. During the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln would ride up to a telegraph office north of Washington, D.C. One night, a telegram came in detailing the Union Army's losses of the day. Confederate troops had captured a brigadier general and 100 horses. Upon hearing the news, Lincoln said, "Sure hate to lose those 100 horses." The operator then asked, "Mr. President, what about the brigadier general?" And he replied, "I can make a brigadier general in 5 minutes, but it is not easy to replace 100 horses." The point of this story is simple. Do not let your position control your ego, because the sad truth is that you're all easily replaceable. Do not think you are invincible because of a position. Do not think you are always right because of a position. Do not think you are entitled to anything because of a position. No matter what, you must work to earn respect and successes in your life. 5, know everyone's name. This one came from Lieutenant Jaeger, who walks through Delano and says the name of every single midshipman that he passes. As a leader, you should know everyone's name. If you know their name, they will be more likely to follow you, work for you, and respect you. Know everyone's name, and everyone will feel valuable. 6, be consistent. This last one is simple. In the ocean of leadership, use consistency as your vessel for respect and success. Show up for work. Show up for work on time. Be consistent in your work ethic. Be consistent in discipline and expectations. Just be consistent, and no one can question you. So, with that said, there's good news and bad news. The good news is that you have reached the light at the end of the tunnel. The bad news is the tunnel of Vickery Gate just opened up into a world of challenges, and the challenges that you face in the coming years will likely be harder than those you faced here. Kings Point has given us the tools and the foundations to succeed, but the class of 2018's success will come through hard work and dedication. So once again, congratulations to the class of 2018. We have worked hard for this moment, and we deserve it. We have shared both good and bad times, but I can confidently say that I will truly miss all of my friends and classmates. Remember, merely graduating from here does not make any of us great. We are not successful yet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Commandant of Midshipmen, Captain Michael Stroud.
Class of 2018, congratulations. I know some of you are probably pretty surprised that you're out there. So are we. In truth, you guys have done an outstanding job. You've shown the way that I really hope in 19, 20, 21 really pick up the flag and carry on from here. The things that you have done, the projects you've taken on, and pushed the Academy forward is something that you should always be proud of. This place is not the same leaving as it was when you came, and that's because of the work you all did. So be happy and be proud. Thank your leaders, everybody that's in the back over here, the people up front, and internal to you, your RCs, your BCs, and, of course, your class president, who I will introduce now if he starts working his way up here. I also had to call him in my office, but I did that every week, so it wasn't a surprise when he showed up. No, Christian has worked with us a great deal, both on the basketball court, leading the way out there, and as your class president. Biggest thing about him is his smile, as everybody can see over there, as he waits to come up here. He always leads and brightens up every room with that big old smile of his. Sometimes I wonder why he smiles so much. I don't trust it, but like you as a class, you guys have not let us down. You always shine through. I'm going to ask Midshipman Windorf if you come on up here, and you'll get your chance to speak.
Well, good morning, everybody. Secretary of Defense, General Mattis, Congressman Swayze, Maritime Administrator Busby, Superintendent Rear Admiral Hellis, Deputy Superintendent Rear Admiral Dunlap, Commandant Captain Stroud, Acting Dean Captain Dijon, Major General Koch, Captain Wagner, our legacy class of 1968 and any other alumni, and parents, family, and friends. I first want to recognize my fellow class officers that were with me, Owen Bradley, Chandler Chappie, and Dustin Eckleby, happy birthday, for their time and effort serving the class of 2018, because I don't think I could have done it on my own. It's been an honor to serve beside you guys. And I know they're going to hate this, but a huge thank you to Lisa Donitz and Jim Tobin, Greg Metalis, and everybody else at the Alumni House for being so supportive of our class and officers. They've done so much for us, connecting with alumni, giving advice, and Lisa taking charge of the dog program, because I know we all appreciate having man's best friend on campus. Make it feel more like home. Let's give them a round of applause. And finally, to the great class of 2018, baby! I'm so proud of you guys. Here we are. We did it. All the Netflix binging and studying and struggling has all paid off. After 4 long years, we have come to what every Kings Pointer dreams of and strive towards. The day we walk across this stage into the next chapter of our lives. We've made plenty of memories, haven't we, guys? First question, though, how did we get here anyway? Do you remember? Many of us were found on arenas, fields, pools, and courts by the fine coaches here at Kings Point. And I want to thank the coach that found me in the middle of Indiana, diving for loose balls in the basketball court, and brought me here to Kings Point. We all made it here somehow, through someone, our own ambition or good fortune. Our individual paths may have differed, but we came together in this time and in this place to tackle a task only a pack can handle. Never forget the opportunity we all seized. Second question, how in the world did we make it through? That's a real question right there. As for me, my thanks goes to the big man upstairs, God, basketball and the basketball team out there, Epic Games and the Fortnite squad, wherever you are, the Spike Ball crew, definitely helped out a lot, and also FL Studio, making sick beats. Check me out on SoundCloud, EP's dropping soon. Who does your thanks go to? But most likely, many of those people are sitting in those stands right behind you guys. Take a minute. Let's turn around. Just face. Look at all of them. You guys are looking beautiful out there. Their support for us is unmatched, unconditional, and it's something that should never be taken for granted for, no matter what stage of life we're in. My family, I know you're on the 50-yard line. I love you guys. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, now I want you to look around you guys, to your left and to your right. I know you guys had to do this before. But take a look around. Your day zeros, your C partners, study buddies, best friends, maybe even people you couldn't even tolerate for 5 minutes at Quinn McEwen. It's all good. We're teammates. But these friendships are built strong enough to keep us afloat and hold us together for life. So never forget the journey and those who are by our side right now and not with us today during the high and low points. And lastly, let's remember who we are. We are Kings Pointers, a society of resilient, intelligent, talented, skilled men and women joining the armed forces and maritime industry. We are joining those who have gone before us and even given their lives out on the battlefield or in the service to the economy of our nation. A quote I've always loved is, "Calm seas never created a skilled mariner." We have gone through many storms here and come out stronger than before. And I'm so proud of you guys to be with you. It has been a tremendous privilege and honor to represent all of you and get to know you personally throughout the years. And that's something I will ponder. Never forget this moment. And with that, I would like to call up a distinguished classmate of ours for his efforts and enthusiasm as a part of the class of 2018, Dan Vieira, I know where you are. Come on up here. And I don't think we've soon forgotten, and in the great reply all of Clara Ashton, where are you, Clara? Our future, it has begun. Thank you, and you beast! And now it is my pleasure to introduce Captain Nancy Wagner, today's distinguished alumnus speaker. Captain Wagner is an award-winning and groundbreaking Merchant Marine officer and a member of the class of 1978. Not only does this year mark 40 years since her graduation, but it is also important to note that Captain Wagner was a part of the trailblazing first ever class to include women at any Federal Service Academy. We are honored to have her here and look forward to her remarks. Please join me in a warm Kings Point welcome for Captain Nancy Wagner, class of 1978.
Thank you, Midshipman Wittendorf, for their kind introduction. Good morning, Secretary Mattis, Admiral Busby, Admiral Hellis, esteemed faculty and staff, distinguished guests, family, friends, midshipmen, and the class of 2018. Thank you for having me here on this wonderful day. I am honored and privileged to represent all of our graduates, especially my class of 1978, to welcome the class of 2018 as fellow Kings Point alumni. To all of the midshipmen here today, you are all Kings Point mariners, but I am an ancient mariner, or affectionately known as Old Salt or Sea Dog, having spent my entire career on the water. 44 years ago, I was admitted in the first class of women. I walked through Vickery Gate in my platform sandals, miniskirt, and long hair, knowing that in a few short hours, my hair would be cut and I would be wearing men's uniforms for a long time. The rest is history. Yes, I graduated 40 years ago, and my mother is here today to see me again on this stage. Hi, Mommy. I never actually dreamed that I would go to Kings Point, as little girls when I grew up were not allowed. But the opportunity came and I took it. Timing is everything, along with 3 four-letter words that I can attribute my success: work, risk, and luck. When opportunity comes, seize it. Remember that you control your own destiny, and life is what you make it. To the class of 2018, you have unlimited opportunity due to your diploma and your license. Never, ever let it expire. If you must, roll it into continuity, but never let it expire. You work too hard to get it. My late father, Red Wagner, U.S. MMA, class of 1945, chief engineer, maintained his license until his passing nearly 5 years ago at the age of 88. He always told me, you never know what the future will bring. Based on experience, and by the way, experience is what you get right after you need it, life may not be as easy as expected once you graduate. Some tough decisions will be made by all of you. Live by the honor code. A midshipman shall not lie, cheat, or steal. Lead with integrity, courage, strength, and inspiration. Use all the lessons that you learned here. honesty, discipline, determination, and devotion. They will serve you well. You are the future leaders of our maritime industry and our country, soon to begin your voyage with opportunities as well as obstacles. Hold steady as she goes. Never give up your goals and never deter from your dreams. Persevere and continue till you satisfy your ambition. When you pass through Vickery Gate today, you will do so as United States Merchant Marine Academy alumni. Be proud of yourself and your accomplishments, but be humble. You represent Kings Point in all that you do. Live by the motto, acta non verba, deeds, not words, and give back. And for those of you going into active duty, I thank you for your service and for preserving our freedom. Thank you. And now to the class of 2018, whose class ring bears Fliptoint Mergiteur, which translates, "She is tossed by the waters, but doesn't sink." Kind of sounds like me. I am honored and privileged to welcome you, my fellow Kings Pointers, into the United States Merchant Marine Academy alumni. Wait. I got a few more words of advice. The time is now to go to work. Do a good job. You can do it. Dream big and follow your dreams. Congratulations and good luck. Be safe, fair winds and following seas, and always remember acta non verba.
Will all marine transportation majors please rise? Will all marine logistics and security majors please rise? Will all marine engineering majors, marine engineering and shipyard management majors please rise? Will all marine engineering systems majors please rise? Will all marine engineering majors please rise? Rear Admiral Hellis, on behalf of the faculty, I hereby certify that the members of the class of 2018 have completed the prescribed curriculum and are therefore qualified to be awarded the degree of Bachelor of Science.
As Superintendent of the United States Merchant Marine Academy, by the authority vested in me by the Congress of the United States, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree of Bachelor of Science with all the rights, honors, and privileges thereunto pertaining. Congratulations.
Please be seated. The Regiment of Midshipmen has been fortunate since its earliest years to include midshipmen from many foreign nations. This year we have one graduating midshipman who represents one of our international strategic allies. We invite this graduating midshipman to stand when his name is called, along with members of his national delegation that are in attendance today. From Malaysia, Kuhern Naga Indran. Please be seated. We wish all of our international students and graduates fair winds and following seas. Please join me in a round of applause for our international graduate. Please be seated. The regimental band, under the direction of Lieutenant Commander Robert Nixon, will now present a service medley. For those currently serving on active duty or in the reserves, as well as those who have served our nation in the military or merchant marine, we invite you to rise when your service song is played. Captain Jennifer Williams, United States Coast Guard, Kings Point, class of 1990, Director of Inspections and Compliance, U.S. Coast Guard Headquarters, Washington, D.C., will administer the United States Coast Guard Merchant Marine License Oath. Class of 2018, please rise.
All right, 2018. This is what the goal number 1 was when you went to the Merchant Marine Academy. And I have the sole honor of giving everyone an oath, which is not what everybody else on the stage gets. So I feel very privileged and honored. All right, raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear. That I will faithfully and honestly. According to my best skill and judgment. And without concealment. And reservation. Perform all the duties. Required of me by the laws of the United States. I will faithfully and honestly. Carry out the lawful orders. Of my superior officers aboard a vessel. Congratulations.
Thank you, Captain Williams. 2018, please be seated. 5 members of the class of 2018 will receive commissions in the United States Army. 2 will receive commissions in the United States Army Reserve. To administer the oath is Major General Troy D. Koch, Commander, 99th Regional Support Command, Joint Base McGuire-Dix, Lakehurst, New Jersey. Those seeking a commission in the United States Army, please rise.
All right, to all my Army officers, we get to go round 2. Congratulations, both for going into our active component and into our Army Reserve. You're going to be fine and you're going to do good things. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States, as a second lieutenant, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office for which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Hua.
Thank you, General Koch. 6 members of the class of 2017 will receive commissions in the 2018. Will receive commissions in the United States Marine Corps later this year after completion of Officer Candidate School. Marine Corps officer candidates, please stand to be recognized. Officer candidates, please be seated. 15 members of the class of 2018 will receive active duty commissions in the United States Navy. The oath will be administered by Captain Select Justin Hartz, Kings Point class of 1998, United States Navy, Hudson Fellow, University of Oxford, United Kingdom. Those seeking a commission in the United States Navy, please rise.
Shipmates, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here on what happens to mark the 20th anniversary of my own graduation from Kings Point. And as I put together some thoughts to say what I would say here this morning, I realized that I may have received the same message that you guys did. I really did write down you need to look to your left and look to your right, and that a quarter of these people won't be here, and that these are the people that make it will get you through. And I want to pause for just a second because I need to share some stuff with you for those of you that went through the See Your Stand Down. Well, you see, when Midshipman Wittendorf invited me to take part in today's graduation ceremony, He explained that it was in part to thank the stakeholders in the Academy, not just the alumni, but the ship owners, the leasers, everybody else who fought to get you guys out to sea on government vessels when the commercial vessels went away. And I don't need to tell this class, the class of 2018, the level of stress as the hours turned to days and days turned to weeks and weeks seemingly into months. I'll bet many of you wondered whether today would even happen. As what little slack in the Academy's schedule rapidly evaporated and plans were crafted to cancel holidays and rumors started circulating about deferred graduation, transfers to other colleges and state maritime schools, breaches of service obligations, it must have seemed that today would never come. And as much as I'd like to take credit for that, for getting you here today, I need to set the record straight because at most, I helped place only 10 of your classmates on U.S. government vessels. And I need to tell you this story. Those first 10 midshipmen, it was pretty hard to get them out there. For those of you that are familiar with Navy training, midshipmen come out for a week or two in the summer and take part in a very carefully crafted event, right? Every single second of every day is scheduled so that they get to see tours and demonstrations. We even get our own ammunition just for midshipman training. But that midshipman training becomes the mission of the ship. So it should be no surprise that as I asked my counterparts in the Western Pacific if they would like to take midshipmen in the winter on no notice for up to 6 months at a time, it was a lot like asking if somebody wanted to adopt a puppy. No offense. It was very much like, I'd really like to take some midshipmen, but I'm kind of short on manning, and I couldn't really give them the home that they deserved. So I got a lot of no's. And as I said, only 10 midshipmen came out to those ships. But it was those 10 midshipmen, right, the first 10 midshipmen that came out there, they're the ones, as you look left and right, that are responsible for today's graduation. Because as word started to spread around the waterfront in Yokosuka that these midshipmen were not a burden, they were actually value added. I had COs calling me to tell me that their engineering midshipmen could cut and weld and braze and fabricate from scratch. The deckies were correcting charts, standing watches, chipping, painting, grinding, and could not only operate in a GPS-denied environment, but were actually teaching Navy bridge teams on forward deployed ships how to do celestial navigation, terrestrial navigation with no electronic support whatsoever. If you need, God, stand at ease. If you need something quantifiable, I finished my command tour of the destroyer Benfold in the shipyard, and it was a 9-month-long availability, major depot-level maintenance availability. In the first 2 months of that availability, the 3 midshipmen that I had, according to my port engineer, completed and struck off $340,000 worth of deferred maintenance, depot-level maintenance. This was maintenance that exceeded the capability of my crew to do and exceeded the capacity of the Navy shipyard in Japan to accomplish. That work would not have been done. $340,000 worth of work in 2 months, just 3 midshipmen. Now I'm a decky, so if I extrapolate that across 150 midshipmen who sailed for a year, Mr. Secretary, you got over $60 million worth of free maintenance. By the way, Kings Point's base budget is only about $70 million, so you guys earn back basically the cost of the institution in just 1 year of sailing out there. If you haven't considered what you're going to ask or what you're going to say when you cross the stage today, because you're going to have the opportunity to meet the Secretary of Defense, who owns you, all of you, even you SSOs, for the next 8 years to pay off the fun you've had here, right? You might just consider asking for early release based on good behavior and time already served. I could go on. I do want to thank the Department of Naval Science here and the Department of Shipboard Training. For those of you that don't know, Kings Point does not have an NROTC unit here. We do with the staff of a quarter the size of the staff of an NROTC unit, 1,000 midshipmen. We have no SIPRNet at the Academy. There's no way to get secret message traffic, and warship movements are classified 48 hours in advance. So we would wind up sending emails to the Academy saying 2 males, 3 females, Port of Guam, day after tomorrow. And they showed up in uniform, on time, ready to work. And just one little sea story. One cruiser CO said, I would really like to help support Kings Point midshipmen, but I can't. I only have 1 male rack open on my ship, and I've been saving it for 2 months. I have this really tight problem, and I can't seem to fix it. Captain Tracy, if he's here, he's probably going to remember this. He said, well, what's the problem? And he said, well, I have a waste heat boiler problem, and it isn't that I don't have the skill set. I don't have anybody small enough to get in there. So apparently the Navy has a civilian guy, like one guy who's small enough. And this guy travels from ship to ship to ship all over the world to get in to do these jobs. And you never know when he's going to show up. So the captain could not afford to give up that rack. Captain Tracy's response said, I have a member of the Kings Point wrestling team on his way. He'll be on your ship in 24 hours. And they fixed the ship. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to make some ensigns. So for those midshipmen who are accepting a commission in the United States Navy as naval aviators, naval flight officers, surface warfare officers, submarine warfare officers, civil engineers, intelligence officers, and an explosive ordnance disposal officer, please come to attention and raise your right hand. Please repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office in which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Godspeed and good luck to Class 2018.
Thank you, Captain Hartz. Ensigns, please be seated. 16 members of the class of 2018 will receive a commission in the United States Air Force, and 3 will receive commissions in the Air National Guard. Administering the oath is Colonel Mark D. Johnson, Kings Point class of 1996, United States Air Force Chief Global Precision Attack Corps Function Team, Hampton, Virginia. Those seeking a commission in the United States Air Force, please rise.
Thanks for the warm welcome. 22 years ago, I think I sat right about there. I think it was hotter and humid too, though. You have before you several, 16, 18, going into the Air Force and Air National Guard in Air Force Blue today. That's amazing. I had 4. We're going to be entering into service as pilots, engineers, acquisition specialists, logisticians, and Air National Guardsmen. This is your first step becoming an airman. Embrace it the way you have a mariner, and you will have success. On behalf of the United States Air Force, I congratulate all of you on a fine achievement. I personally thank you for choosing to serve with me. You're entering a noble and lethal service in a very challenging time. Expectations are high, but trust your instincts and use what you were taught to give back. Do not be afraid of mistakes. You will make them. I promise you that. But learn from them. In fact, continue to lead, continue to study, continue to learn. Be ready to lead on day one. Show leadership and character. Be humble and listen. The world was your campus, and now it lies before you. I'm going to use the words of a friend, General Rand, the commander of Global Strike Command, who said recently, from here on out, don't just do enough to get by, but get by doing as much as you can. He said it twice, because I think it means something. From here on out, that means from this day forward, do absolutely as much as you can, not just enough to get by. I ask you to go forth in faith in America and confidence, sustain liberty. Commit yourself to our core values that are ingrained in you by this academy. Words act non-verba, deeds not words. Don't just do enough to give by, give it your all. Your subordinates deserve nothing less, and they will follow you because of it. In all that lies ahead, I wish the class of 2018 fair winds and following seas. And now, if I can get you to raise your right hand. I state your name. Having been appointed a second lieutenant in the United States Air Force, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations, and welcome to the world's finest Air Force.
Thank you, Colonel Johnson. Lieutenants, please be seated. 6 members of the class of 2018 will receive commissions in the United States Coast Guard. Administering the oath is Captain Williams. Those seeking a commission in the United States Coast Guard, please rise.
So I know that the Coast Guard Academy are big rivals to the Merchant Marine Academy, but I can guarantee that each and one of these ensigns that are entering the U.S. Coast Guard will still be the most obnoxious Kings Point supporters during every football and sporting event. It's an order. But before I administer the oath, I would like all of the classmates that are sailing on their license or planning to be in the industry, take a look at these 6 officers. You will see them again in a different capacity. 3 of the women are going aboard Coast Guard cutters, at least for their first tour, and 3 of the men will follow in my footsteps to do the Coast Guard regulated oversight of commercial vessel shipping. Their first jobs will be marine inspection. So as a 3rd mate or a 3rd engineer, you just might see this guy coming on board with his hammer. So please raise your right hand. I state your name. Having been appointed an officer in the United States Coast Guard as an ensign, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations. Semper Paratus.
Thank you, Captain Williams. Ensigns, please be seated. 6 members of the class of 2018 anticipate that they will receive commissions in the United States Coast Guard pending acceptance board determination at the end of this month. Coast Guard officer candidates, please stand and be recognized. Officer candidates, please be seated. Captain Select Hartz will administer the oath of office to 131 members of the class of 2018 who will be commissioned in the United States Navy's Strategic Sea Lift Officer Program. Those seeking a commission in the Strategic Sea Lift Officer Program, please rise.
All right, we're saving the best for last, right? So, I am an active duty officer from Kings Point, but you that are standing represent the core mission of this academy. Entering the Strategic Sea Lift Officer Program, you are Defense Sea Lift. Okay? You are in the Navy. Okay? I think we should put them together. But you need to focus on making a career of this. This is not something you do to just finish your time and pay off your education. You should have, each one of you, a goal of making 06 in the Strategic Sea Lift Officer Program. You can do it, and we need you. Okay? Having said that, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Having been appointed an ensign in the United States Navy, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations, Ensign.
Thank you, Captain Hartz. Ensigns, please be seated. Today, we graduate 187 members of the class of 2018. In addition to receiving their diploma, Coast Guard license, and commissioning documents, each graduate will receive a set of ensign or second lieutenant bars presented by members of the Kings Point class of 1968.
Will those students graduating summa cum laude, magna cum laude, and cum laude please rise? Matthew Thomas Perry, summa cum laude. Greer Henry Wakefield, summa cum laude. Daniel Austin McElreevy, summa cum laude. Benjamin Daniel Sams, summa cum laude. Matthew Nicholas Amascado, summa cum laude. Aaron Albert Garrett IV, magna cum laude. Nathan Garon Miller, magna cum laude. Joshua Calvin Can, magna cum laude. Stephen Robert Hinton, magna cum laude. Dominic Dean DeGiorgi, magna cum laude. Adam Jordan Rainey, magna cum laude. Tyler Joseph Hartman, magna cum laude. Patrick Francis McGinnis, magna cum laude. Anthony Thomas Cola, magna cum laude. Dylan Harrison Rabbit, magna cum laude. Eve Elizabeth Watterson, magna cum laude. Evan Francis Bilski, magna cum laude. William Duncan Marino, magna cum laude. Chandler Eugene Chiappi, magna cum laude. Douglas Ian McDonald, cum laude. Alexander Lewis Barton, cum laude. Austin James Ernest, cum laude. Clayton Robert Foster, cum laude. Liam Malachi Deegan, cum laude. Kuhan Naga Indran, cum laude. David Ellsworth Harlan, cum laude. Mache Olida Mason, cum laude. Nicholas John Supri, cum laude. Brianna Nicole Buderas, cum laude. Kyle Anthony Carmody, cum laude. Jordan Arlie Weaver, cum laude. Brendan Hamilton Wright, cum laude. Rebecca Marie Snyder, cum laude. Nicholas Joseph Castelli, cum laude. David Edward Marino, cum laude. Maximilian Chase Maudsley, cum laude. Nicholas Michael Deschamps, cum laude. Sean Calvin Kessler, cum laude. Heather Marie Lee, cum laude. Sarah Lynn Malowski, cum laude. Dominic Dante Adace. Travis Wyatt Aarons. Kalamaku Charles Joan Akiono. Emma Lynn Alcantar. Eric Sky Aldridge. Andrew Herrera Arnold. Claire Ashton Fuller. Lawrence Daniel Balsamo. Michael Conrad Barnes. Douglas Stephen Burdell. Rebecca Beth Bessler. Samuel Paul Bongiorno. Caleb Ping Bradbury. Owen Michael Bradley. Hallie Marie Breidenthal. Frank Hunter Brophy. William Ralph Burns. Austin Thomas Butt. Will Denali Calhoun. Bryson Keithley Campbell. Tashina Brianna Carman. Michael Ellis Carrasco. Joseph Anthony Castellano, Jr. David Tai Wei Chin. Caleb Stone Clayville. Chad Jackson Cleary. Patrick Michael Cole. Dominic Michael Cooper. John Anthony Corvino. Drake Douglas Dentry. Kyle Joseph Dietz. Ryan Edward Dix. Tucker Neil Dotson. Elijah Nason Dove. Samantha Elizabeth Drake. Matthew John Dudo. Tyler James Dugan. Matthew Ryan Dunaway. Dustin Connor Eckelby. Joshua Irving Ellington. Philip Tomas Espinosa. Adam Joseph Fisher. Hillett Bradford Franz. Hayden Charles Fry. Christian James Giordano. Kayla Purcell Gleason. Emily Lauren Gramer. Rachel Ann Greeno. Alexander George Groen. Elizabeth Ann Grove. John William Harrison III. Nathan Claire Hart. George Andrew Hatzanidis. Michael Paul Healy. Patrick Christopher Hegarty III. Nathan Matthew Hinkle. McKenna Jean Henyon. Samuel Joseph Hess. Robert Dean Hayward III. Patrick Brian Higgins Jr. Chase Samantha Hinkle. Isabel Veronica Hodgkinson. Soon Hyun Wong. Philip Albert Charles Iannozzi. Carl Dunback Johnson. Scott Ray Aram Johnston. Var Alaire Jones. Brandon Ray Caliquiano Jamoas. Devin Patrick Keister. Robert William Kennedy III. Kaylee Ann Kilbert. Brandon Hyun Jun Kim. Adam Jacob Knapp. Isaac S. Lee. Austin Christopher Lemasters. Maya Yi Lindemann. Charles Walter Lomax. Christopher Brian Lowry. Stephen Patrick Lucy. Zev Joseph Lustgarten. Jacqueline Grace Mahoney. James Conlon Malone. Cassandra Faye Marino. Justice Daniel Martin. Catherine Isabel Martin. Catherine Elizabeth Mason. Michael Taylor Matthews. Robert Coleman McCabe. Patrick Devon McCorvey. Quinn Michael McEwen Berglund. Sean Michael Meehan. Brennan Helton McGiff. Connor Hughes Melnick. Alexandria Lourdes Miller. Robert Bryce Moore. Kyle Jamie Morris. Zachary Mitchell Mullins. Jacob Owen Murphy. Thomas Michael Neal. Blaze Adam Newman. Brian Patrick Nickel. Alexander Jacob Neiman. James Hunter Noel. Benjamin Paul O'Donnell. Chase Aaron O'Keefe. Alden William Clifford Paggio. Cassandra Marie Pedersen. William Frank Helger II. John Robert Pennington. Michelle Elizabeth Perry. Travis Jordan Pescatello. Tri Han Pham Jr. John Carlton Phillips. Dana Maria Florde. Dominique Janae Pope. Eric Ryan Renier. Aaron Raymond Rice. Arthur Evan Riddle. Hannes Benjamin Rogers. Gabrielle Olivia Rose Salazar. Daniel Rodriguez Sanchez. Anthony Ruben Sandoval II. Matthew Raymond Schwartz. Davis William Sheffield. Jacob David Sherman. Jacob Michael Sithon. Nolan Andrew Smith. Matthew James Statz. Ian Jeffrey Stoner. Vincent Thomas Storino. Reagan Grace Strombach. Eric James Swain. Ryan Michael Sweeney. Justin Thomas Sidlowski. Matthew Gilbert Talamo. Jonathan Brian Tarbox. Anthony Joseph Testa III. Madeline Marie Thibault. Luke Edward Tiefenthaler. Mitchell Raymond Tillyard. Mackenzie Nicolina Tola. Ryan Marshall Torres. Nicholas James Treon. Daniel Goudoual Vieira. Carl Peter Wallen. Stephen Hayes Webster II. Daniel Bray Wiesner. Christian Robert Mittendorf. Craig Omer Zubachevich Jr. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States Merchant Marine Academy, class of 2018.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the playing of the Academy's alma mater and remain standing for the benediction offered by Chaplain Durham.
Will you join me in prayer? Most holy God, with great enthusiasm we launched the graduating class of 2018 into the next step in their journey. I'm grateful for their loving parents and family who supported them while they were here. I'm grateful for faculty, staff, coaches, and mentors who invested and spoke into the lives of these men and women, helping to shape them into whom they might become. I ask, Lord, as they leave the four walls of this academy, no longer midshipmen, but merchant mariners and military officers and the future leaders of our great nation, please continue to direct their path. May all they set their hand to do find success as they do it. Help them pause and be mindful of your love and grace which surrounds them. Be with us now as we leave, and may your mercy be with us all. I pray this in your name, great Creator and Lord. Amen.
Please be seated.
Will the class of 2019, 2020, and 2021 please stand? 3 cheers for those about to leave us. Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Please be seated.
Let's go, 2018. Get on up! 3 cheers for those who were leaving behind. Hip, hip! Hip, hip! Hip, hip! Let's go!
That's again is the 82nd commencement exercise of the United States Merchant Marine Academy, live from Kingsport, New York, brought to you by Maritime TV. I want to thank our sponsors, Patriot Contract Services, the Master Mates and Pilots, MEBA Union, the Marine Engineers Beneficial Association, the Storm the Hill Gang, the National Industrial Base Workforce Coalition, Council of American Master Mariners, the American Maritime Officers, who all made this possible. Thank you again. Class of 2018, graduation exercise for the United States Merchant Marine Academy. Thanks for watching Maritime TV.